I became a stripper because if the world is set up in this way that I am going to be exploited for my femme body, I want control over that. I want to exploit the system that seeks to exploit me. If this is what we're given, we need to turn that around and make it work for us. I'm gonna unionize. Everyone's like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Strippers organizing, they want a union, what's next? The world is ending. And it's like, no, we're just like you. We're just people trying to work in an exploitative capitalist society.
That's correct. Strippers in LA are unionizing. It seems like something that would be outside the box or crazy or unheard of, but it should be the most normal thing in the world. And the one thing I would disagree with that, lastly, I didn't see her name there, was she said she's looking to exploit the system that exploits them. That's not exploiting the system. That's getting your fair share of what you work for. That's not exploitation of the system. Yes, the system exploits you, but you're just getting your money that you deserve. So let's get to some of the details of what's going on, because there's this labor movement for better working conditions, and it's taking place across the country, but here in Los Angeles as well. So for the last 8 weeks, strippers at Star Garden in North Hollywood have been demanding safety and privacy protections, as well as the negotiation of fair contracts. And in March, they delivered a petition to management outlining their concerns. So here's some of the personal testimony that some of these folks that are working there had to say about what they've been dealing with.
I was fired for bringing up a safety concern about a customer. I saw red flags and I was concerned that things were accelerating in an alarming way that could lead to obsession. I saw red flags of like possessiveness.
When I brought up my concerns to the manager on duty that night, he mocked me to my face, telling me that I was going to be murdered by that customer and how I was going to be murdered by him. Probably shot, as the security guard predicted.
Told me basically that it was my fault, that I must be doing something to lead him on. This is not an isolated kind of occurrence. This is like something that you deal with as a dancer. My real ask for them that night was just to make sure that all of the customers were kicked out at the end of the night so that they weren't lingering, watching us get into our cars, watching us leave and go home, watching us count our money, watching us interact with our boss, all of these things that should be kept private.
As she pointed out there, she was reprimanded, people were fired over these stances, and actually just normal things like, hey, can you make sure that we don't get followed home and murdered later? You would think that'd be in the interest of the people who also employ them. Maybe you'd like your employees to survive, maybe come back. But that's the degree to which we've exploited folks like this, and also just seem to not care because we don't think society cares, Yaz. What do you think about how this is happening?
Well, kudos to them for attempting to unionize and for getting some press about it. And we were talking about it here, that's a big deal. But one thing that she said that I really liked was that, if the system is going to exploit me for my body, for my femininity, then I'm gonna get something out of it too. And I think, especially as a woman growing up, society kind of downplays your femininity and it almost treats it as if it's a negative rather than a positive. And so women grow up thinking that we have to be more masculine if we wanna be successful in our lives and especially in our careers, when really, whatever you have, this whole package is part of the package, right? If you're beautiful, if you are strong, if you're feminine, whatever the case is, that's part of what you have to offer to the world. It's part of what's going to help you succeed in the world. And it shouldn't be downplayed as if, oh, you didn't work for that, or oh, you didn't do this or whatever. The only thing that matters is your academics, or the only thing that matters is your work history. That's not the case. People are so much more than their resumes, and there's so much more even than what is presented to you. There's humanity in everyone. And I think that that's really what is at the crux of these workers who are trying to unionize right now. And I think it's really good that she pointed that out.
It reminds me of it because it's like this big story going around to a degree where I'm blanking on her name. She's a former porn actress, and she started doing a podcast over sports with Gilbert Arenas, I think. And then now she's doing other media stuff. And the headline everywhere is she's trying to change her image and her character and who she really is. I was like, you guys don't know who she is. If you're paying attention to the work she's doing now, if you like it, cool. If you don't, cool. But why does that have to be connected to what she had been known for before? We have this thought that we can't detach folks from what it is that they used to do before. Oh yeah, Mia Khalifa. I was reminded. So she's doing all this, but now that's the story. You know what she was? What is she doing now? I still don't know what her content is now, because everything I'm reading about is what she used to do. And that's the story. We can't disconnect it. But when it comes to guys, I mean, Donald Trump, his failures in business propelled him in his campaign. It's so weird. His negatives, which are actual negatives, propelled him. But when this comes to this, it's all we can talk about.
Yeah, because even Mia Khalifa in her former career, she was still successful, which is more than Donald Trump can say about a lot of his business ventures in the past. As we don't have to go into detail about that. But it is good to focus on the successes and to focus on all of even the failures that have gotten you to where you are today, right? And everyone, I think, can relate to this in some way, shape, or form. Even if you've ever changed your major in college, you tried something, didn't work, and then you go forward, but you become all this whoever you are today based on all these past experiences. And I don't think any of it should be discounted.
Absolutely,
I'm kind of work.
I'm one of those. Yes, I was a mechanical engineering major freshman year of college, and by sophomore year, I was undecided, because I couldn't do that anymore. It was madness. I mean, I still loved the process, but the things that were happening as far as the class, I was like, no, this ain't me. My brain doesn't like this. Okay, let's. You did the same, you said?
Yeah, of course. I have an MBA that I literally don't even use. So my whole education, if I could redo it, I would have done something completely different. But whatever.
We'll teach our kids better.